Dear students of Honors Second Year, at the beginning of my lecture, I'd like to welcome all of you. This is Rajiv Roy. I'm a lecturer of the Department of English at Dhaka College. Today I'm here to talk about non-major English for you. And in the meantime, my colleague Adnan Hussain has conducted a lot of lectures for you. At first, I'd like to thank him. Now, I want to start my own topic, and there is one suggestion or recommendation for you. If you face any problem or any difficulty, please write in the comment box. I will try my best to give you the answer. Today, I will talk about right forms of verb. Although Adnan sir has conducted 2 classes on it, I'd like to cover some more rules of right forms of verb. At the beginning, I'd like to share you the definition of right forms of verb. So, before sharing, I'm going to write the topic on the board, and for sure, I will try to give you some clear conception about the rules of some of the rules of right forms of verb. Okay, so let us start. We are going to start right forms of verb. Right forms of verb. Look at the board. Suppose the man waters the plant every day. This is an English sentence. The man waters the plants every day. This is the subject of the sentence, the man. This is the verb. This is the object, or you can say extension. What is the verb of the sentence? The verb of the sentence is waters. My question is, there are some forms of verb. For example, here the verb is waters. There are some other forms of waters. For example, water is the base form, watered past form, watered past participle. Waters means I have put s or es with the verb. Another form is watering, another word to water. We have got different forms of water. What kind of participles is water? Is waters in the sentence? It is verb. Every verb has some forms, but dear students, all the forms are not relevant to the sentence or relevant in the sentence. All the forms of the verbs cannot be used in the sentence. In other words, we can say all the forms of the verbs, are not used in a sentence. So what should we do then if we are not allowed to use the forms of verb, all the forms of verb in a sentence? There is one way. There is one way out. There is one solution, and that is we need to take the correct form of verb. But question arises, correct form of verb is taken according to what? Yes, today I am going to give you a clear conception about this issue. There are different forms of verbs. I have already told you. Forms of verbs are taken according to person, number and tense. The process by which the right or proper form of verb according is taken according to person, number and tense is called right forms of verb. So, right forms of verb is a process by which the right or proper or correct form of verb is taken according to person, number and tense. Is it clear to you? That means we have to take the correct form of verb according to person, number and tense. Look at the sentence. Here the subject is third person and the number is singular. This is an example of present indefinite tense because every day is such an adverb. Every day is such an adverb which requires present indefinite tense usually in a sentence. So, as everybody, the adverb everybody has been used in the sentence, we are allowed, we are bound to use present indefinite tense. And what is the subject of the sentence? The subject of the sentence is man. And what is the number of the subject? It is singular. So the subject is third person singular, we have to put s or es with the verb. We are not allowed to take water, we are not allowed to take watered, watered, watering or to water. So in the meantime, I have tried my level best to give you the definition of right forms of verb, dear students. So right forms of verb is the process by which we take the correct form of verb according to person, number and tense. Now, I'd like to tell you some of the rules and regulations of right forms of verb. Okay, look at the board. First rule for today, rule number 1. Try to keep in mind that these rules are not only important for your examination or academic examination, but also important for competitive examinations for job sector. The rules of right forms of verb are given importance in almost all the classes or competitive exams for job sectors. Okay, so try to keep these rules in mind. Okay, so rule number 1 for today the rule number 1. At first I will give you the rule, I will tell you the rule, then I will give you some examples. The first rule for today, if we get any adverb or adverbial phrases, if we get any adverb or adverbial phrases like now, at this moment, at present, day by day. Dear students, now, at this moment, at present, day by day. Look at the board. If we get any adverb or adverbial phrases, now is an adverb, at this moment is an adverbial phrase, at present is an adverbial phrase, day by day is an adverbial phrase. If we get any adverb or adverbial phrases like now, at this moment, at present, day by day, we need to use present continuous tense. We need to use present continuous tense. So, present continuous tense is used when we get some adverbs or adverbial phrases like now, at this moment, at present, day by day. And you know the structure of present continuous tense. Subject, then auxiliary verbs, am, is, are, then verb plus ing, then object or extension. Present continuous tense is also called present progressive tense. Dear students, what is the other name of present continuous tense? Present continuous tense has another other name and is called present progressive tense. What is the structure of formation of present continuous tense? Subject plus auxiliary verb am, is, are, then verb plus ing, then extension. So, we have got the structure of present continuous on present progressive tense. We have got the rule. Now, I'd like to implement my rule in example. Now, at this moment, at present and the day by day, require present continuous or progressive tense. Let us give an example. we pass a crucial time now. The student, what should be the answer? What should be the answer? There should be a preposition through. We pass through a crucial time now. Here now is used. What should be the answer? The answer should be we are passing. We are passing through a crucial moment now, crucial time now. Okay, so you have got the first rule. If we get any adverb or adverbial phrases like now, at this moment, at present, or day by day, we have to use present continuous or present progressive tense. Okay, now let us start with rule number 2. Rule number 2, look at the board. Just now, already, recently, lately, ever. Just now, already, recently, lately, ever, yet, of late. Just now, already, recently, lately, yet, ever. Of late is a phrase. Of late is a phrase, and of late has the same meaning as lately or recently. You know the meaning of recently? You know the meaning of recently? Recently has a synonym named lately. So, lately and recently are synonymous with one another. And recently and lately carry the same meaning, and this meaning is carried by this phrase of late. So, of late, recently, lately, these three adverbs or adverbial phrases contain the same meaning. Dear students, just now, already, recently, lately, yet, ever, of late. If we get these adverbs or adverbial phrases in a sentence, this sentence will be turned into present perfect tense. Present perfect tense. So, dear students, just now, already, recently, lately, yet, ever, of late require present perfect tense. And what is the structure of present perfect tense? The structure of present perfect tense is subject, then we have to put auxiliary verb have or has, or after have or has we have to use the past participle form of the verb, then extension. Let us give an example. You ever be to the UK? Look at, you ever be to the UK? This is an example. This is a sentence. Be careful. This is an interrogative sentence, dear students. This is an interrogative sentence, and we have to make question or interrogative. We have to make this sentence interrogative. And look at, here we have got the adverb ever. We have got the word ever. So, we need to use present perfect tense in this sentence. We need to use present perfect tense in this sentence. We need to use present perfect tense in this sentence because of ever. And at the same time, we have to use interrogative sentence. Be careful. So, dear students, ever is such an adverb which requires present perfect tense, and we have to turn this sentence into interrogative. Be careful. Be very careful. So we have to do it into interrogative and we have to turn it into present perfect tense. So I have, the structure is subject, then auxiliary verb have or has, then past participle. Subject, have or auxiliary, then past participle. So here you is the subject and you needs have. So you have ever. What is the past participle of be? The past participle of be is been. So you have ever been to the UK. But my sentence is not correct because I have made it in assertive. We have to turn it into interrogative. In order to turn it into interrogative, we have to put the auxiliary verb before the subject. What is the auxiliary of present perfect tense? Have or has. What does you require? You require have. So I can write, have you ever been to the UK? Look at this has become interrogative and at the same time present perfect tense. Okay, I'd like to give you another example. This example might have been difficult for you. Okay, so let us give another example. We complete a course. We complete a course on ELT lately. We complete a course on ELT lately. Look at the sentence. Here lately is an adverb and this adverb requires present perfect tense. And what should be the answer? We should write, we have to take have as the auxiliary and then the past participle of the verb is completed. We have completed a course on ELT lately. Is it clear to you, dear students? We have learnt rule number 2. Now let us start rule number 3. Now I'd like to start rule number 3. But before starting rule number 3, I'd like to recap rule number 1. I told you that now at this moment, at present, day by day, these adverbs or adverbial phrases require present continuous tense. My question is, when we should use present continuous tense? When we should use present continuous tense? Actually, the work or the event that is going on right now, the events that are going on right now, or the event or the incident that is going on right now should be turned it into present continuous tense. So present continuous tense consists of those events which are going on right now, which are happening right now, we can say. So present continuous tense requires the events that are going on or that are happening, that are taking place right now. And what is the structure of present continuous tense? Subject, then auxiliary verb am is are, then verb plus ing. But suppose think one incident or event started in the past. One incident, now I am talking about rule number 3. Say one incident started in the past. One incident or event started in the past and it is still going on and is still going on. So the event that started in the past and still going on should be turned into present perfect continuous tense. So we have to use present perfect continuous tense when the event started in the past and it is still going on. Be careful. The incidents or events that started in the past and still going on, are still going on, should be used or categorized in present perfect continuous tense. So, we need to know the structure of present perfect continuous tense. We have to use subject at the beginning, then the auxiliary verb have been or had been, have been or has been, then verb plus ing. That means we have to put ing with the verb. But when should we use present perfect continuous tense? An event that started in the past and is still going on or is still happening. Started in the past and is still going on. And this event should be used in present perfect continuous tense. And in this tense, there should be the expression of time. There should be the expression of time. This time is expressed with the help of two conjunctions. One is since, another is for. One is since, another is for. So, in present perfect continuous tense, two prepositions since and for are used. After since and for, normally time is expressed. I am going to repeat. If any event started in the past and is still going or happening, must be turned into present perfect continuous tense. And in order to express the type, we have two prepositions. One is since, another is for. So we can say, if we get any time with the help of since or for, we have to use present perfect continuous tense. Let us give an example. Father work since morning. Father works since morning. Look at the example, dear students. Father works since morning. The activity of father, that means the working of father, started in the morning. The activity of father started in the morning and it's still going on. It is still going on. That's why we have to use present perfect continuous tense. And we have used since, then time. We have to use present perfect continuous tense. And you know the structure of present perfect continuous tense. We have to take the subject, then auxiliary verb have been or has been. Father is third person singular, that's why you have to use has been, then verb plus ing. Father has been working since morning. Look at the board, dear students. Father has been working since morning. I think I should need to write another example. We learn English since our childhood. We learn English since our childhood. Dear students of honors second year, those who have non-major English, please look at the board. Our learning of English started during our childhood, and this learning is still going on. This conception is expressed in the sentence. Which tense should we use? We need to use present perfect continuous. So, what should be the answer? What should be the answer? Try to think of your own answer, and then I will tell you the answer. We have been, we have been learning English since our childhood. We have been learning English since our childhood. This is the answer of the sentence. Have you got it, dear students? Yes, I think you have got it. We have completed rule number 3. Now let us start with rule number 4. Let us start rule number 4. Look at the board, dear students. We know that some of the students are writing that in the comment box. I have seen that some of the students are willing to have our lectures both in English and Bengali. Taking honor for you, I'd like to say that the English sentences that I am using are really easy to understand. Do you find my English sentences difficult to understand, dear students? Try to listen to me. I think everything will be clear to you. At first try. At first you will face some difficulties. And I'm sure your difficulties will be removed as long as you listen to me. Please, dear students, try to improve your listening skill. And in order to improve your listening skill, you have to listen a lot. I will try my best to use some very English sentences so that you can understand me very clearly and effectively. Okay, so don't take me in a different way. We need to create an English environment. Okay, look at the board. Now I'm going to start rule number 4. Rule number 4 is after modal auxiliary, we have to use the base form of the verb. After modal auxiliary, we have to use the base form of the verb. After modal auxiliary, we have to use the base form of the verb. What are the modal auxiliary verbs? Now I am going to tell you. Shall, should, may, might, can, could, will, would, must, need, dare, ought to. Shall, should, may, might, can, could, will, would. Shall, should, may, might, can, could, will, would. Must, need, dare, ought to. These are the simple modal auxiliaries. If we put to after be verb or after have verb, for example, after be verb, that means am, is, are, was, were. If we put to after be verb, that means am to, is to, are to, was to, were to, have. Am to, is to, are to, was to, were to. If we put to after have verb, that is have to, has to, had to, shall have to, will have to. These all also work as modal auxiliary. Am to, is to, are to, was to, were to, have to, has to, had to, shall have to, and will have to also work as modal auxiliary. And what is the rule here? After modal auxiliary, we have to use the base form of the verb. The students, after modal auxiliary, after modal auxiliaries, we have to use the base form of the verb. Okay, have you got me? I think you have got me. Okay, I'd like to give an example. Before example, I'm going to repeat my rule. After modal auxiliaries, that means shall, should, may, might, can, could, will, would. Shall, should, may, might, can, could, will, would, must, need, dare, ought to, used to, am to, is to, are to, was to, were to, have to, has to, had to, shall have to, and will have to. After these modal auxiliaries, we have to use dash form. Dear students, which form? we have to use base form of the verb. Let us give an example. We ought to respect in the bracket our seniors. We ought to respect our seniors. What should be the answer? Should I give you some options? For example, the options are respect, to respect, respects, respecting. What should be the answer? Write in the comment box, dear students. Write in the comment box. What should be the answer? The answer should be respect. Because after ought to is the modal auxiliary and we have to use the base form of the verb. Is it clear to you? I think it's clear to you. Now rule number 5. Now rule number 5, dear students. There are some auxiliary verbs. Have, has, had, having. Have, has, had, having. Dear students, have, has, had, having. After these auxiliaries, we have to use past participle form of the main verb. So what is the rule here? Rule number 5. Have, has, had, having. Have, has, had, having. After this auxiliary verb, we have to use past participle. We have to use past participle form of the verb. Should I give an example? Yes, I should. I have my meal. What should be the answer, dear students? I have my meal. I have told you that after have, has, had, having, you have to use the past participle form of the verb. Please write your answer. Please write your answer. Yes, I think you have tried. I have is the auxiliary, and after auxiliary verb we have to put past participle of the main verb. And what is the past participle form? The past participle form of the main verb is had. So what is the answer? I have had my meal. I have had my meal. Is it clear to you? So we have learned that after have, has or had or having, we have to put the past participle form of the main verb. Now rule number 6. Now rule number 6, dear students. From this rule, there was given a question in 32nd BCS exam. From this tool, a question was given in 32nd BCS exam, and that is, look at, had better, had rather, would better, would rather. Dear students, had better, had rather, would better, would rather. Look at please. Had better, had rather, would better, would rather. Look at please. After had better, had rather, would better, would rather, they are actually phrases. After these phrases, we have to use the base form of the verb. Dear students, we have to use base form of the verb after had better, had rather, would better, would rather. Some of the students make mistakes after having a look towards had. They usually make past participle form of the verb. But what should be the answer? After had better, had rather, would better, would rather, we have to use the base form of the verb. Let us give an example. The students had better, the students had better use English language The students had better use English language to develop themselves. What should be the answer? Dear students, write down. The students had better use or to use or using or used. Which one is the answer? Write in the comment box. Hurry up. Just don't hurry up. Write your answer in the comment box. Yes, it should be use, because after these phrases we have to use the base form of the verb. We have completed rule number 6. Now rule number 7. Now rule number 7, dear students. For rule number 7, we need to learn the use of as if or as though. Dear students, this is very important for you, but before starting, I'd like to say you something. We people normally maintain the structure of as if as though, but do you actually know when we should use as if or as though? I have a question. We know the structure of tense regarding as if or as though. As if or as though. We know the structure of tenses about as if or as though. But do we actually know when we should use as if or as though? Okay. I am going to give you a little conception about the uses of as if and as though. Please listen to me very carefully. I am sure those who have a very poor knowledge of English will also able to understand me if you listen to me carefully. Okay? Because my English sentences are really easy to understand. I use very easy sentences. Okay, look at. As if or as though is normally used at the middle of a sentence. At the middle of a sentence, as if or as though is used. As if or as though is used at the middle of a sentence. Before as if as though, there remains an event. There remains an event, okay, or incident before as if or as though. And after as if or as though, you have to, dear students, you have to imagine or compare. You have to imagine or compare because of the event, or taking the consideration of the event, you have to imagine or compare. That means after as if or as though, there should be comparison or imagination. So as if or as though is used at the middle of a sentence. Before as if or as though, there should be an event. Depending on the event, we have to have comparison or imagination. We have to imagine or compare. We have to imagine or compare because of this event. So, event, then comparison or imagination. Dear students, event requires a tense. Event requires a tense. So does comparison or imagination. That means here will be a tense and there will also be a tense. If event is in present indefinite, if the event or incident is in a present indefinite, look at, if event is used in present indefinite, in order to compare or imagine, you have to use past indefinite. If event is in past indefinite, if event is in past indefinite, we have to use past perfect to imagine and compare. So, dear students, present indefinite plus as if was the past indefinite, present past indefinite as if was the plus past perfect. Okay. Should I give an example here? Yes, I think I should give an example. Okay. The man spoke. Look at, the man spoke. This is an example of past indefinite, dear students. The man spoke as though. The man spoke as though he complete IELTS. The man spoke as though he complete IELTS. The man spoke, and because of his speaking, we are comparing or imagining that he has completed IELTS. So this event is in past indefinite, so imagination or comparison will be past perfect. And what is the answer, the students? What is your answer? The answer should be as it is past indefinite, we have to use past perfect. The man spoke as though he had completed IELTS. He had completed IELTS. Is it clear to you? Dear students, are you really finding it difficult to understand me? Do you really find me difficult to understand? I don't think so. This is rule number 7. Now I'd like to teach you rule number 8, and with this rule I will come to an end regarding today's lecture. Now rule number 8. It is the use of since. Since is used at the middle of a sentence, and before since time is expressed, and after since we have to use event. So since connects time and event. Time is expressed before since, and after since we have to use event. If time is in present indefinite, event will be past indefinite. If time is in present perfect, event will be past indefinite. If time is in past indefinite, event will be past perfect. Look at the board, dear students. Before since time is used, and after since event is used. Okay. If time is in present indefinite, event will be past indefinite. If time is in present perfect, event will be past indefinite. If time is in past indefinite, event will be past perfect. Look at the board. Look at the board, dear students. Look at the board, dear students. Okay, let us give an example. Let us give an example. It is 45 minutes since we start our class. It is 45 minutes since we start our class. What should be the answer, dear students? My dear students, what should be the answer? It is 45 minutes since we start or starting or started. We have to use past indefinite. It should be we started our class. If we write it has been 45 minutes, the same answer will be used because this is perfect. Because the time is in present perfect tense, we have to use past indefinite. If I say it was 45 minutes, then the answer will be changed. It would be had started. Okay, it is 45 minutes since we started. It has been 45 minutes since we started. It was 45 minutes since we had started. Okay, we have completed up to rule number 8. Dear students, I have completed 8 rules within 45 minutes. Okay, today I don't want to continue anymore. I will give you some more rules and regulations with my effort in my next class, and I hope you will participate in my next class like today. So thank you for being with me, and I am really overjoyed, or I am really overwhelmed with the participation of you today. Willing to have your more participation in the upcoming lectures. Just keep one thing in mind: participation of the students in the classroom or in these live classes always encourages the teachers. Your participation is one kind of inspiration for me. Okay, so this is all for today. Thank you. Goodbye.